I'm feeling spooky. You feeling spooky? You should. It's spooky season. And this is the Leal Legacy. Feels so good that spooky season's here again. And let me tell you, it couldn't have come soon enough. Actually, I feel like I'm getting like a early jump on it, to be honest with you. In recent years past, it's if I'm being completely honest, it hasn't set in as early as August 8th. Oh, time check. It is 1:17 dark. And here we are. Is it too late to be trying to do this? Maybe. It might be. But that also means who knows what's going to come out of me. Could be anything. Could be good. Could be bad. Could be a mix of both. But I felt it. I felt it was needed. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the Leal Legacy verse. Is that gonna stick? I don't know, but I kind of like it, honestly. Leal Legacy verse. Yeah, it's gonna stick. Okay, from now on, that's what we're gonna refer to all things Leal Legacy. We're gonna refer to it as the Leal Legacy verse, which would be this podcast, the Legacy of Leal vlog, the Legacy by Leal streetwear line, brand, I don't know, merch. That's a way to put it. A way to put it. Merch. And then Leal Legacy music, which, if you're a true musician, isn't really music. It's just me having fun with AI. And you know me and AI. I love it. I love it. And if you don't, I'm just really convinced that you don't know how to utilize it to the best of its ability. You'll learn, though. You'll learn, because it's not going anywhere. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. I don't know what we're talking about tonight. Spooky stuff. Spooky stuff. Some new happenings going on. This is very likely the last episode of the Leal Legacy podcast. Was that enough silence to build suspense? It's the last episode to be recorded at my house. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how frisky I feel getting back in action. But back in action is where we're at. It's been a hot minute since the last episode, and I feel like I say that every episode, but this time I mean it. Truly. I truly do. I can say that with confidence, because the major roadblock as of late trying to record this podcast is that I record at my house. And if you know anything about me and my house, you know it's chaotic. It's chaotic because I have so many children. And what comes with children is an overabundance of noise. And when recording a podcast, an overabundance of noise is not ideal. It truly is not ideal. So to remedy that, I have recently obtained access to a recording space. I was going to call it a studio, but it's not. It's not a studio. It's a space. A space is the most apt way to describe it. Yeah, I'm excited. In this space, it's fully equipped. It's got a stellar green screen setup, lights. I got cameras, but there's also like chairs. It looks pretty legit, honestly. Like, we're upscaling, folks. We are upscaling in a big way. And with this upscaling is going to come consistency, which is another major part in attempting to develop and build a podcast. So this hindrance of excessive background noise will no longer be a thing. I like recording in the comfort of my own home, but just realistically, clearly it's been an issue. And that's fine. Being a dad comes first in all things, in all aspects. And that's been how it's been, But now, with the new access to this recording space, I'm going to be able to do both. I'm going to be able to do both efficiently, successfully, and things are looking up. Things are looking up. So that being said, if you haven't already, you might want to go jump on the Leal Legacy Creative YouTube channel, because the video element to this podcast is coming back in a big way. I'm going to be able to have guests. The space is set up for guests. Having guests on the podcast has not been really a thing before. Way back when, in one of the many early iterations of this podcast, I'd have guests on from time to time, just like friends of mine, folks I enjoy talking to in normal life. If they had something interesting going on beyond just a friendship with me, I'd have them on and we would just chit chat. But now with this new space, who knows, guys? The possibilities are limitless. But yeah, so that's coming like soon, like next week, kind of soon. Maybe not next week, maybe the week after. I don't know. We'll see. I have access to this space in a like barter kind of system situation, to where I'm providing video services to the prime occupant of the space. So there are going to be times maybe I'm not able to record because I'm doing video stuff for them. I don't know. It's the coordination part on that end is we'll see how that's going to work out. But ideally, weekly. We're going to work our way back to weekly and not sporadically. So that's incredibly exciting. Beyond that, we got some new Legacy by Leal happenings too over there on the merch front. I felt inspired. I don't always feel inspired to do this, but I felt inspired because, man, let me tell you, I'm hitting spooky season hard. Spooky season is hitting deep, and I am embracing it hard. And by we, I mean me. I don't have a team. It's all just me. Which has been another kind of somewhat hindrance and everything, because I'm the kind of guy, the kind of creative that wants to do more things than I think one person can conventionally handle by themselves. Yeah, it's it's been an issue. I don't know if it's like an ADD thing, ADHD thing. What's the difference? What's the difference between ADD and ADHD? How hard does that H hit? I don't know. I just like to do a lot of things. I have a lot of ideas, and I like to try and execute all the ideas that I have. And in doing so, they compile on top of each other, take away from each other, and none of them can really grow to fruition like I ideally would like them to. I overload myself. It would be nice if I was more like devoted to one thing, but I'm not. I like doing so many things. If I had a team, it'd be better. You know what I mean? If I had somebody editing for me, if I had somebody like recording for me, in the sense of like I just show up and talk. You know what I mean? But yeah, one day, that'll be a thing. But for now, it's still me. It's me against the world. It's me against the creative world. It's not really against. It's really just against myself, to be completely honest. Maybe I need to like develop a discipline to where not every idea has to come to life. But that just doesn't sound fun. Doesn't sound as fun, I should say. I've actually done that to a degree, because with this whole Leal legacy verse, I was trying to dabble in even more than I am now, but I've condensed it. I've condensed it to podcast, vlog, merch, and then fake music. And really the fake music thing isn't so much like me trying to make songs and pose as a musician. It's sometimes I just get wacky ideas and I want to make them. And honestly, a lot of it, like if you like the beginning of this episode, you know, there is a Leal legacy theme music. And mostly that's what I'm using AI for, to like do stuff like that. Really, I started doing the whole AI music thing because I didn't want to like, you know, I didn't want to have other people make music for me, which I guess is good and bad, because musicians need to make a living too. But you know me, I don't necessarily play well with others, so I just like to do it all by myself. And I'm not a musician. I don't have musical abilities. I don't, which is it's just odd to say, because I did the whole band thing back in, you know, my high school days. But that wasn't really me being a musician. That was me just being like a punk rocker. You don't really need a whole lot of music ability to be a punk rock vocalist. You just kind of got to sound cool. And I think I was able to sound cool. But that's not musical ability. That actually kind of just transferred over to this. You know? Now I'm trying to sound cool just talking instead of screaming. I don't know. That was a weird little, like, derailment. But yeah, Leal Legacy Music is the fourth pillar of the Leal Legacy verse. But it's kind of just like I don't know, it's like a thing. I did do that whole Counter Kingdom Disney cover album. But that was again, mostly for me. I was just like, I like these Disney park songs. I wonder how they would sound, you know, in the genres that I enjoy listening to. And it, you know, I did it, and it was fun to do. And it's up there on all streaming platforms, weirdly enough. It's not something I ever thought I would do. But there it is. Go check that out. Leal Legacy Music on Spotify. Who knows if anything else will be uploaded. But, man, that was just like a really long and stretchy bit of nothing, huh? Anyhow, yeah, 4 pillars, Leal Legacy, podcast, vlog, merch, music. And you know what? I say that, but then I also had this other project called Earned Not Given, which was like a little mini doc kind of thing, following a good buddy of mine, Dakota Ballard, his amateur to pro fight career. I've been documenting and started a YouTube show. Did you know YouTube has shows now? Yeah, YouTube wants to get into like kind of like a Netflixy game. So they offered YouTube creators the ability to have like seasoned shows. So I started one of those too. See what I'm talking about? I just get ideas and like start doing them. And when I get a new one, the idea that I had before that kind of suffers because I'm so focused on the new thing that I don't give the due attention that the previous thing deserves and needed to become anything. I gotta work on that. I probably really should just commit to something and just put everything into the one something. But again, that's just not who I am. And I don't think that's going to change. I don't like having creative ideas and not trying to do something with them and just having them be an idea and nothing more, you know? But it's also a pitfall. I don't know, man. I'm figuring it out, though. And I think I'm in a good place with figuring it out. Progress is being made. Things are happening. Developments are developing. And I'm optimistic, creatively optimistic, which is something that hasn't necessarily been the case for a while. And again, I think that just like comes down to, dad life. And that's not me saying like, there's no like resentment behind that. I love being a dad. Being a dad is my favorite thing ever to do. But it has, posed a roadblock to doing endeavors such as this. Balance is what it's about. And I'm finding the balance and finding ways to make it all happen. It's what it's about. Especially in the odd way that I do it, the one-man show thing. That is just the worst way to do anything, I think. I think playing well with others has its place. And it is kind of like an important thing when it comes to being a creative person. The whole lone gunman thing is just, it's a hard way to live, man. It's a hard way to go about it. But I can't help it. I'm a loner, Dottie. A rebel. And shout out to you if you know what that's from. Some of you will. But I think you needed to be born in the 80s to really appreciate that quote. What are we even talking about? I don't know. I think at some point before all of this, I was trying to talk about the new Halloween stuff we got coming to Legacy by Leal. You know, we're doing like a whole, I'm doing a whole Halloween-y themed just run of designs. I can't really call it a drop like other cool streetwear brands do, because I don't do it the same way. It's not like a drop. It's not gonna drop on this date and you better get it while you can because they're gonna sell out and you're gonna miss out. That seems like a recipe for success, but that's not the way I do it. I don't think anything I do has a recipe it's done with a recipe for success. It's just done because I want to do it. Man, this has really spiraled into like a therapy session, and I really appreciate you listening. I do. You really help me out just by letting me talk. Just by letting me talk into the void. It's very therapeutic. It really is. Yeah. So the new stuff from Legacy by Leal, the Halloween-y stuff, is called the October Club. Does that make you think of AFI? It makes me think of AFI. And that's not a bad thing. But it's like mid-era AFI. You know, it's not way early AFI with their super hardcore stuff. And it's not later AFI with whatever they've become now. But like the Black Sails and the Sunset Art of Drowning era, it's that AFI. The October Club. And it's really just because I'm super spooky right now. I'm just the spookiest. I'm the spookiest I've felt in quite a while. Well, since last year. No, I feel pretty spooky all the time. So much so that I have Living Dead tattooed on my chest. Did you know that? I don't know if I've ever talked about that. Yeah, I have Living Dead tattooed across my chest in Latin. In Latin, because that's the spookiest of languages there's ever been, right? Latin. Victus Mortus. Victus Mortus. Living Dead. Man, that's so cool. Man, that's so cool. I forget about it all the time, though. So, like, I'm taking a shower, and I get out, and I look in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, whoa. You ever do that? Hey, heavily tattooed people, do you ever do that? You ever catch yourself in the mirror sometimes and go like, whoa, what happened? I do. I'd like to get more tattoos, but given my, like, day job, that makes it very difficult. Being a jiu-jitsu coach and competitor really makes the whole, like, getting new tattoos thing, like, complicated, you know? Because the whole thing is, like, it's grappling. It's, you know, body-to-body contact, aggressive. It's a struggle cuddle, you know what I mean? A lot of grabbing, a lot of pulling, a lot of pushing, a lot of rubbing. It's not conducive to having, you know, open ink-filled wounds everywhere that you're hoping heal correctly. Otherwise, they won't, and then things look weird. After ink starts falling out, scabs get ripped off, pulling the ink out. It's just the whole thing. So I don't know if I'm going to be getting any more tattoos anytime soon. I'd like to tattoo my face more. I'd like to, but you know, most people you say that to, they try to talk you out of it. I have one face tattoo, but it isn't really a face. It's on my temple, really. And is the temple part of the face? It's face adjacent, that's for sure. It's on the head, and that's pretty extreme. It's not my first head tattoo, though. My first head tattoos were my bat tattoos on the side of my head. Man, my bat tattoos on my head, that was probably one of the most just like out of the box, sporadic, impulsive decisions that I've ever made. Followed by the tattoo on my temple. But hey, since we're talking spooky season, since we're talking spooky times, I actually got my head tattooed in New Orleans on Halloween. Yeah, bats on the sides of my head. I started one side first, and then I did like the other side months later because it was like this whole like imbalance sort of thing. I have that same issue with my neck right now. I only have one side of my neck tattooed, and it kind of bothers me because I want the balance of having both sides. And then that comes back to the face tattoo. I only have the one temple tattoo, and I look at my other temple or the other side of my face or face adjacent locations and go, man, there needs to be something on that side to kind of balance it out. You know, I feel kind of lopsided. But here we go again. So the tattoo on my neck, the opposite temple is what's tattooed. So maybe there's kind of a balancing act going on there. And you know what? Now when I look in the mirror, I'm probably going to feel better about it if I keep that in mind, which I won't. So yeah, once upon a time, I was in New Orleans on Halloween, and this was like the second tattoo I got in that same day, right? It was. Yeah, it was at the Tattoo Voodoo Expo in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I was down there with my old, what Legacy by Leal once was. Legacy by Leal used to be called Skeleton Crew. And a friend of mine at the time, renowned tattoo artist, I went down with him because, I don't know, we were close, and I think like I was driving a truck at the time, and he was like, hey man, do you want to come down to New Orleans with me to this tattoo convention and, be my booth guy? And I was like, sure. He's like, awesome. Can you drive your truck down with my tattoo stuff in the bed of your truck, because the car I'm driving doesn't have space? And if you do that for me, I'll let you, we can double the booth up as like my artist booth, and you can use it as a vendor booth for Skeleton Crew. And I said, sure thing, pal. That sounds like a fantastic idea. So we did it. I drove down to New Orleans with his stuff and, sold my wares, hawked my wares at the Tattoo Voodoo Expo. I think Halloween was like on a Sunday that year. So Sundays at tattoo conventions are conventionally slower than like the Friday and Saturday. And this tattoo convention had, I guess, like they saved like their show, their competition, their tattoo competition for that Sunday. I don't know. I've never run a tattoo show, so I don't know if that's like ideal. Maybe that inspires people to stick around for that final day of the tattoo convention, because it's like, hey, make sure you come back on the last day to see the entries for like best black and gray piece, best color piece, best blah blah piece, tattoo of the weekend, and all these kind of things. In my mind, doing it on the busiest day would probably garner the most attention, but depending on the piece, yeah, depending on the piece, maybe you start the tattoo on that Friday, and depending on the size and the detail and the intricacy going into the tattoo, maybe you need those 2 days to get it accomplished. And then on the last day of the convention, ideally you have finished the tattoo and you can enter it into the competition or contest or whatever they call it. I don't know. That was a little bit of a spiral, but anyway, back to the point. Back to the whole reason why we started talking about this. Things were kind of going slow, and my buddy had not done a tattoo for the competition yet. I don't even know if he was intending to, but he got through his clients for the weekend. He did everything he needed to do. He made back the money he invested in going to the convention. And he was like, "Hey, Justin, can I tattoo you for best color tattoo?" And I said, "A free tattoo? Sure, why not?" And then he tattooed my leg. He tattooed my right leg on the side of my calf. And I just kind of let him do whatever. You know what I mean? He's a great tattoo artist. So I was confident in whatever he felt like tattooing would be great. He finished the tattoo fairly quickly. It's a decent tattoo. I'll probably get it covered up if I do get more tattoos. Not because I don't like it, but because I have like more grand ideas for like leg sleeves, and it just wouldn't fit the theme. I kind of want themed leg sleeves, and the tattoo I have there currently, though pretty good, it doesn't fit the theme that I want. Although I have an idea for the cover up, and you can utilize what's there to make a good cover. Anyway, you don't want to know that part. Back to the story. So he tattoos my leg, and there was some extra time to kill before the competition. And he was like, "Hey, thanks for letting me do that." And I said, "No, thank you for the free tattoo." And he's like, "Well, we got some more time to kill. Do you want anything else? Because, we're all set up, and, my tattoo equipment is sullied with your DNA. So, like, I've got nothing else to do. I'm not going to break down and start on somebody else." I was like, "Hey, how cool would it be if I got bats along the sides of my throat?" And he was like, "I'd like to use your throat down the line for a better piece." And having just like big filled in, like dark black filled in bats on the sides of your throat is really going to prevent us from doing an even cooler piece on your throat down the line. And I said, "You're making a solid point, but I kind of have my mind set on this right now. I kind of want to get bat tattoos in New Orleans on Halloween. That just seems like a kind of cool thing to do, right?" And then he and I went back and forth about it, and I was like pretty insistent. I was like, "No, dude, I really want these bat tattoos. I have a thing about bats. I like bats. You know why? Because I'm a spooky guy." So anyway, his wife at the time, it's no longer his wife. He's had a couple wives since then, honestly. His wife at the time was like, "I like your idea. I think that'd be really cool to get bats tattooed in your throat." And I was like, "Yeah, I think so too." And he was like, "No, both of you are wrong. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to." And I was like, "Ah, nuts." He's like, "But I do want to tattoo bats on you." And I said, "Okay, I'm listening." And then she said, "You know what would be even cooler?" Because at the time, I had a pretty sweet mohawk going on. So with a pretty sweet mohawk, you got nothing but prime real estate on the sides of your head. So she said, "Hey, since you got this mohawk, why don't you do those bats on the side of your head?" And I said, "You know what? That sounds pretty cool." So we did it. He started tattooing bats on the side of my head in New Orleans on Halloween. And while we were doing that, they announced, "Hey, up next is best color tattoo competition of the weekend," or whatever. And we went, "Oh man, that happened a lot quicker than we thought." So he's like midway through tattooing bats on my head. when we got called up to present. Like, I went up there, I had to go up there and stand on a table, and the judges would like look at my leg and go, this is a good tattoo, or this is not a good enough tattoo to win the competition. Well, I'm sitting there with a nice, fresh, painful tattoo on my right calf, and while simultaneously having like my head tattooed. And then they called me up, or they called all the contestants up. And I don't know if you've had your head tattooed before, but at least where I was getting it tattooed, there was a lot of rattling going on, a lot of shaking. Kind of feels like your brains are being scrambled a little bit. And I don't know if that's just like because of the placement, or he was heavy-handed, or I don't know. But the next thing I know, he goes, "Oh man, you got to get up there." And I said, "Huh?" And I honestly said, "Huh," because I couldn't really hear him over the tattoo machine that was like up against the side of my head right next to my ear. So he's like, "You got to go up there." And the next thing I know, I feel a dry paper towel rub down the side of my leg. And I went, "Oh, that feels terrible." And he goes, "Go." And I said, "Go where?" And he's like, "Go up there to the table, the judge's table, and show this tattoo." And then he hit my leg again with the paper towel because, kind of oozy, kind of gross, fresh tattoo, a little bit of blood. And I said, okay. So I hobbled up to the judge's table, got up on the table. They start looking at my leg, and then they look up at my face. And I remember this look of just kind of like, oh, on their faces. And lo and behold, they had that look on their faces because down the side of my face was blood and black ink running down my head. Apparently the head bleeds quite a bit. So that was a sight to behold. I'm bleeding from the head, blood running down the side of my face, while kind of in a delirium because I've just had my brain scrambled from, having the side of my head tattooed. So that was the story of me getting bats tattooed on the side of my head in New Orleans on Halloween because I'm a spooky guy. It's such a pointless story that we fell into for no reason. But it is all part and parcel with the theme of this episode, spookiness, the October Club. And have I mentioned I'm really psyched that it's Halloween time? But we're not diving headfirst into Halloween because you don't do that. You don't dive headfirst into Halloween. When you think of Halloween, when most people think of Halloween, I'm a big flavor guy. I like flavors. I like smells. And one of my favorite things about this time of year are the flavors, are the smells, i.e., because I am a basic white girl, pumpkin spice. Pumpkin spice might be my favorite flavor ever. And I know how, basic white chick that sounds, or try too hard spooky guy. I get it, but I can't help it. It's my favorite. But you can easily burn out on that flavor. It's very easy to burn out on flavor, especially because just about everything has a pumpkin spice flavor option this time of year. Like breakfast cereals, every pastry under the sun that you can imagine, fragrances, air fresheners, candles, everything. Everything is pumpkin spice. Ground beef, burritos. Go to the taco shop, they got pumpkin spice tacos, pumpkin spice burritos. That I'm not too sure about, although I would try it. And when I say pumpkin spice, coffee, when I say pumpkin spice though, I don't mean basic white girl pumpkin spice lattes and fruity stuff. I drink my coffee black still. I like my coffee like I like my men, strong and black. sometimes the things that come out of my mouth surprise even me. And I didn't expect that to come out. It's true though. I only drink black coffee. So when I say pumpkin spice coffee, I'm not talking about like a Starbucks dessert drink. I'm just talking about, you know, a nice infused flavored coffee. The thing about loving pumpkin spice though is you can go overboard and you can divulge and partake in all the various pumpkin spice flavored things out there. But burnout is a real thing. And if you were trying to like dive into spooky season right away with an intake of pumpkin spice right out the gate, well, that's just crazy because you're going to be burned out on pumpkin spice before Halloween even hits. So there's a gradual nature that I live by and that I'm actually pretty militant about. I'm a firm and staunch believer. And you know what? The October Club, I'm going to start writing guidelines for the October Club. If you're on the October Club, you got to follow these guidelines so you can truly enjoy, you can truly take in everything this season has to offer and still enjoy it. You know what I mean? First and foremost, before, you know, Halloween and spooky season really commences. Fall in general, you know what I mean? Fall in general has to be recognized, has to be respected, and there are flavors of fall. You know what I mean? It's not pumpkin's not the only flavor of fall. I like to gradually step into fall with, instead of pumpkin spice, I start with like apple flavors, apple scents, like a solid apple spice scented candle. There might not be anything more fall than that, and that's even like including the pumpkin realm of things. So I say from like August 1st to September 15th, you avoid the pumpkin spice and you commit and gradually sink into the season with apple flavored things, apple spice flavored things. I guess it has to really be like an apple spice because apple by itself really could be year round. You know what I mean? Like the apple itself is always around. It's always there. It's not like a pumpkin, which is only there in the fall months. But you throw a little cinnamon on that apple, it's hard to, it's undeniably fall. So I will not, even though I'm in spooky mode, even though I'm in Halloween mode, I'm not going to subject myself to burnout by going too pumpkin spice heavy right out the gate. And then these like seasonal flavors and scents guidelines extend into like Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff. But pumpkin spice, I firmly believe is like a September 15th to Thanksgiving. So mid-September to mid-November. And a solid 2 months, I think is perfect. It's plenty of time to enjoy it. And by the end of the 2 months, you're like, okay, I'm ready for something new. You know what I mean? Too much of a good thing is a thing. And you don't want to, screw yourself. You don't want to screw yourself out of something you love by just getting too much of it. Okay? I really hope you're like listening. I really hope you're taking notes here. And I really hope you're taking to heart what I'm saying. Because if you are a diehard fall fan, I'm telling you the secret to stay that way. I'm giving you a little insight to ensure that you're able to live and love the season to its fullest without being grateful that it's gone when it's gone. You know what I mean? So really, commit to this, guys. And there's going to be a lot of temptations out there. Because again, every single thing under the sun this time of year has a pumpkin spice option. Everything. Practice some restraint. Practice some discipline. That's all I ask. How long have I been doing this? I don't even know how long we've been going. Oh, look at that, 44 minutes. That's not too bad. That's a pretty solid episode time. What was this about? I don't know. I really kind of just needed an excuse to throw out there that the Leal Legacy podcast is coming back with a vengeance under new conditions. And I'm excited about it. And really, I kind of just needed to practice. You know, I really think this does take practice. How many people out there can just like ramble for an hour straight? You know, talk to no one. Most people can't talk to no one. They need to talk to someone. I, oddly enough, prefer talking to no one than talking to someone. I mean, actually, that's not always the case, to be honest with you. Depends who you're talking to. Sometimes you can find that someone that you'd rather talk to that isn't a no one. You know what I mean? I conventionally wasn't so sure. But if you can find that someone that you enjoy talking to more than a no one, chase it, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know. I think it's also getting late. It's getting late. Do I need a co-host? Is that what I'm getting at? I mean, I don't necessarily need a co-host, but then that also comes down to that whole talking to someone can also be better than talking to no one. And sometimes it's better for listening too. But who in the world would want to co-host a podcast with my name in it? Right? Because if you're going to have a co-host on a podcast, you're going to want to have like a dynamic of a shared ownership kind of dynamic. Right? Unless the other person is also a Leal, why on earth would they want to co-host a podcast called The Leal Legacy? Right? Probably when my kids get older, maybe they'll start doing this with me. But actually, speaking of talking to someone that's not no one, in this same podcast space that I'm going to be recording this podcast, a good friend of mine and I are going to start another podcast, an MMA, a mixed martial arts podcast as well. So honestly, originally the idea of utilizing this space was to record this MMA podcast together. But then I was like, well, I mean, if my stuff, my audio gear is going to be in this space, like, why not do the Leal Legacy there as well, you know? why let this space and opportunity go to waste by just, well, it's not really going to waste, but why not make the most of it, you know, and record both podcasts there? But the MMA podcast is like still most definitely a work in progress. That there's a lot that needs to be built before diving headfirst into this, the Leal legacy, this is already built. I can dive headfirst right away, so I'm definitely going to get going on that. And then down the line, the MMA podcast will start too. So I'll probably talk about that more later. Maybe I'll have my co-host for that podcast come on this podcast, and we'll talk about doing that podcast on this podcast together, or doing that podcast together on this podcast. Right? See what I mean? Yeah, some more we'll get into that more later on. It would probably be more fun having her there. The co-host is a she. So you know that much now. She is an MMA judge, a Muay Thai athlete, and another talker, just like me. So she's an MMA judge and a Muay Thai, person. I'm a coach and I'm a jiu-jitsu coach and a jiu-jitsu competitor, and we're both diehard MMA fans. So we figured, why not do this together? That idea came from just out of nowhere too. But anyway, I'm truly just rambling about nothing right now because it is 2:07 dark now, and I have been rattling off at the mouth for 50 minutes. And you know what? Even longer, because I started recording this for a good 20 minutes before committing to recording what you're listening to. So it has, for me, been over an hour, while for you, it's been just under an hour. Hopefully this was somewhat entertaining. And again, this is more just practice, because hitting the ground running, I gotta knock off the rust, blow off the dust, and get good at just talking again. Because it is something that, it's a skill that needs to be exercised. And if I'm going to be doing it in a more professional manner, I should probably have the one skill needed to do it well. Actually, there's a lot of skills probably needed to have the final product be good, but I do everything else already anyway. I shoot all the time. I edit video all the time. So all of that wasn't, there's no rust on that branch of my skill set. But the whole talking thing, with these long gaps in between episodes, there was definitely some rant rust in place. I don't know. But anyway, this is the time of the podcast where I say, hey, if you don't mind, if you so please, look up Leal Legacy across basically everything. Social media, YouTube, whatever else. Leal Legacy. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, and interact, comments, share, all those things. All the free things you can do. Costs nothing. It costs nothing to subscribe. It costs nothing to follow. It costs nothing to leave a comment. And I would greatly appreciate it. It would definitely help the show. Now, for some not free options, which is probably the worst way to pitch buy my stuff, is to remind you that it costs money. Visit Legacy by Leal and go shopping. Go pick yourself up something nice, a nice shirt. Hey, it's gonna be getting cold outside. Grab yourself a hoodie, We got great hoodies too. Maybe I should actually put some more warm wear in there. When I say warm wear, does that make you immediately think things to be worn in warm weather, or things to be warm, or things to be worn to keep you warm? Either way, hoodies, jackets, joggers, all those things available at leallegacy.com in our Legacy by Leal merch store. Or if you just want to completely bypass no, I'm not going to say that. No, go to the website. Go to leallegacy.com, because if you take that path, then you're also exposed to things like this podcast, our vlog channel, the music that's not music, all that's up there too. So leallegacy.com. Check out all the other killer content we have available for you, and shop our web store. I'll greatly appreciate it. It would mean the world to me, honestly. And you know what? I'm such a nice guy. If you use the promo code, what should the promo code be? Podcast. If you use the promo code podcast, you'll get some sort of discount. I haven't really figured it out yet, because I'm just thinking of it and spewing it out on the fly. But you will. If you use the promo code podcast, I'm sure you'll get some sort of percentage off of your purchase. And then as always, if you spend $75 or more, shipping is free. Because I'm just that generous of a guy. And also, if you order something, I'll throw in a sticker. I'll send you something else too on top of it. A little care package. I say that, but really, it'll probably just be some stickers. But stickers can be a care package, can't they? It's a package being sent to you that shows you I care. So, care package. Yeah. Probably could come up with a new witty term for it, or a witty way to advertise it. But again, we're working at past 2 o'clock dark. I probably need to go to bed and get some sleep and wake up tomorrow ready to clean my house. Because that's what weekends are for, right? That's what they're for. Man, what if I fell asleep while recording? That would be wild. I should try that sometime. Sometimes I should try to just podcast until I pass out. Pod till you pass. Well, that actually kind of sounds like till you die. Ooh. Pod till you pass out. There you go. That sounds much better. leallegacy.com. Everything you need, you want is there. Leal legacy.com. Same with social medias, all that stuff. New vlogs, got a bunch of vlogs, family vlogs coming out all the time. And yeah, the future of this podcast is looking stellar. So tell a friend, and let your friend know if they buy something. I'm feeling frisky. Promo code podcast, and I'll send some goodies your way too. Man, how nice am I? Okay. All that being said, it's time to play the spooky theme music for the outro. The spooky theme music that I made using AI. So it might not be real music, but it's real enough. It sounds like real music. Unless you're a real musician, then you can probably tell, hey, this doesn't sound like real music that real people played. Look, I'm a one-man show, okay? If I had any musical ability, I would play the instruments myself, but I don't, okay? But I don't. Oh, yawn. Okay, I'm tired. All right, future me that's editing this is where you put in the spooky outro music. Hey, there it is. All right. I appreciate that. Thank you, me. Until next time, folks, be a friend, tell a friend, get stoked for all things to come from the Leal Legacy verse.
Like and subscribe.